Hi guys, welcome to my new thing. I'm calling this You Got This Takeaway Edition. You Got This is my self-coaching program that I run periodically, and I thought, not everybody has the time or money to invest in learning these skills in a sort of structured format. So what I want to do is I want to pass along my knowledge to help you in a more bite-sized way. In my newsletters and on my Facebook page, my business page and stuff, I try really hard to give you stuff that I think is going to be useful for you. And sometimes I struggle to figure out what I think you want to hear. So I have this brainwave. I know, I'll just ask you, what do you want to hear about? So this is my new thing. I want you to email me or message me on Facebook or however you want to do it, and let me know where you're struggling. Where do you get tipped over? How can I help? And I'm going to answer it via video. So I've got my first question, and it comes from someone who's in a new relationship, and she is asking, how do I stop waiting for the other shoe to drop? Yeah, that's a great question. It seems like it shouldn't be an issue. Things are going well. But I'm certainly guilty of it. I know a lot of us do it, where when things are going well, we think this can't possibly last. Oh, I know, this is so uncomfortable. Let me paint you just a nightmare scenario. You meet this new person, you've been dating for a while, they're witty, charming, they're seemingly able to pay their own rent on time, they chew with their mouth closed, you like the way they smell, and whenever you receive a text from this person, your stomach flips over in this not unpleasant way. And they also seem to also be equally into you. Fuck, right? This is a nightmare. Oh my God, now what do you do? It can't possibly be this perfect, right? No way, no. You can't trust that. Surely they've got dozens of skeletons in their closet and you just haven't found them yet. Or wait. Maybe the problem is you. Maybe this person really is perfect, but they just haven't figured out what a fucked up hot mess you are. And how do you stop that from happening? How do you figure out what it is that's going to trigger them so that they figure out that they need to leave as soon as possible? This is waiting for the other shoe to drop. Waiting for the other shoe to drop is basically the perfect example of an evolutionary trait that we all inherited, called negativity bias. Negativity bias is basically our inborn tendency to give more weight to negative stimuli than positive stimuli. When we were cave people, those of us who tended to be worrywarts and nervous and jump at every sound, what's that sound? This meant that we were much less likely to be eaten by a saber-toothed tiger. And it was really, really handy when there was a possibility of being ripped to shreds by a large predator. Very few people in the world nowadays have that risk, but we still have the negativity bias, unfortunately. So that's why we do it. So now what do we do about it? Well, the first thing I would say is observe your inner cave person. It's almost impossible to step away from any inborn tendency, like waiting for the other shoe to drop, like negativity bias, without becoming aware of the fact that you're doing it first. So that's the first step I would recommend, is become aware of what you're doing. Become an observer of your own behaviors, your own thoughts, your own tendencies. Notice when you're doing it. Notice when that feeling is in your chest, like you're like, this can't last, this can't last, this can't last. Just notice it. That's the first thing. I call that becoming an anthropologist to your own monkey, if you will. Put on your pith helmet, crouch behind the blind, get your field notes out, and start making observations of what you notice. And I noticed that Maggie is rolling in the sun. Maggie has no negativity bias. Don't you love that? Once you have a really good data set, once you've been crouched behind your blind and you've got lots and lots of field notes on what you tend to do, now I want you to start to call yourself on it. Call bullshit on your own negative brain. Notice when you do it, and then all you have to do, it's just that simple. It's just like pinning it to the wall and saying, aha, I see you, ancestral negativity bias, and I'm not falling for it. The next thing you can do is fight bias with bias. So in addition to negativity bias, we also have something called a confirmation bias. So our brains are getting a ton of information flying at them all the time, billions and billions of data points all the time. And so our brains developed shortcuts as a way of not getting completely overwhelmed by all the data that we have to deal with. And so one of the things that we have developed is this thing called confirmation bias. And basically it means that we're going to see what we look for. So have you ever lost your car in the parking lot, and you go to put your key in what you think is your car, and it's only when you notice the Princess Monoco seat covers and floor mats that you realize, hey, wait a minute, this is not my car. And you take a step back and you're like, oh, this is a different blue four-door sedan. But essentially, your brain is looking for a blue four-door sedan, so that's what it tells you. Oh, that's it. That's our car, honey. That's our car. This is confirmation bias. And so the way to use this against waiting for the other shoe to drop is start looking for the good stuff. If you look for good stuff and you expect to see good stuff, you're going to see it. It's just that simple. So you're fighting bias with bias. The next thing you can try is staying present. Oh yay, that old chestnut. I know, we all love that one. It sounds eye-rollingly obvious, but I would challenge you to actually try it, because some of what happens with waiting for the other shoe to drop is we're living in the past. We have brought bad experiences, bad partners, bad, uncomfortable situations. We've brought them from our past into a present situation that might have nothing to do with things that you've experienced in the past. I also call this driving the road in front of you. When I was first learning to drive, I was a super nervous driver. I would get so worked up before I even got in the car, like, oh my God, what if I come to some sort of traffic scenario that I don't know how to deal with? What am I gonna do? What if there's only parallel parking? Oh my God, I would just drive away, honestly. But I would get myself so worked up that I just would refuse to drive altogether. The way that I sort of got over this was I said to myself, okay, I'm gonna get behind the wheel of the car and I'm going to just drive the road in front of me. Whatever I see, I will deal with it when it comes to it. If there's only parallel parking, then I will try parallel parking. And if I can't parallel park, I will keep driving until I find a pull-in spot, But I'm not gonna waste all of my time and energy worrying about stuff that hasn't even happened yet. So this is part of staying present. Drive the road in front of you. You're in this relationship and it feels great. Well, trust that. Try just responding to what's actually in front of you instead of spending all your time worrying and pulling stuff from the past or trying to project into the future about what's going to happen and preparing yourself or trying to protect yourself. Ask yourself, how's it going right now? Is right now okay? If right now is okay, then it's okay. The other shoe is not going to drop in this moment. So just enjoy that. And then the last thing that I would say to try is trust. Try trusting. Try trusting that the other shoe isn't going to drop. It's one of those eye-rollingly obvious things, but unless you practice that trust, you can't build it. The only way that we learn to trust is by trusting. Vulnerability is a little piece of this. The thing that makes us so crazy about waiting for the other shoe to drop is we spend so much time and energy sort of armoring up and preparing ourselves not to get hurt that we lose all the sweetness and loveliness and beauty of how good that situation is right now. So risk yourself a little bit. Your heart, my mom always says, your heart is there to be broken. What are you saving it for? So open up a little bit. Try trusting that everything is going to be fine. And here's the thing. You might think you're this delicate little flower, but you're tough as nails. You've made it till this point in your journey. You have been able to handle every single situation that you have been put in. You're still breathing. You're still alive. You're here. Yeah, some of it may have been uncomfortable. Some of it may have been downright shattering. But you know what? You're here. You made it. You earned it. The other shoe is not going to drop. Sure, this situation might not be the perfect scenario you're hoping it would be, but it also may not be the tragedy that you're anticipating. And you're missing out on all that sweetness and loveliness and delight that's happening right now. And you got this. You can totally handle this, no matter what happens. So stay with it. Enjoy it. Crack your heart open a little bit. You're going to be just fine, no matter what. So yeah, that's how you stop waiting for the other shoe to drop. Recognize that it's just your negativity bias, old, inborn, ancient hardwiring. Get curious about it. Notice that you're doing it. And when you notice you're doing it, call bullshit on it. And then fight bias with bias. Start looking for the good stuff, and you will start seeing more good stuff. Use that confirmation bias. Drive the road in front of you. Stay present. Resist the temptation to bring old shit from the past into this present situation, and resist trying to deflect something horrible from happening in future. The future and the past don't actually exist. The only thing that's real is this moment right now. So stay in it and enjoy it. And learn to trust that the other shoe is not going to drop by trusting it. There's nothing that you can't handle. So stand in both your shoes, look around, enjoy your life, and give back that extra energy to the good stuff. Okay? Yay, that was really fun. Okay, so send me your questions. What else can I help you with? But I'm a total nerd for this stuff, so pick my brain, and hopefully the weather will stay like this so I can keep doing it from the garden, so you can keep seeing Maggie in the background. Hamish is there too, but you just can't see him. He's chasing bumblebees. All right, that was fun, and I'll see you next time. Thanks, bye. Oh my God, I wish you could see Hamish right now. He's like doing karate cartwheels trying to get bumblebees. This is so fun. Negativity bias. The joys of filming in the garden. There's Maggie. Hi, Maggie. Shit, this is amazing. This is so great. This is going so well. Oh, good Lord.